Now at 6, a suspicious fire at a site being turned into a sanctioned camp for the homeless.
That's horrible. Just putting back the progress.
Why Portland police are calling it arson. Plus, as the metro thaws out, the gorge is still iced in.
We definitely just didn't anticipate the whole city going down.
The long recovery ahead for the community of Corbett. And a beloved Portland park takes a beating from the winter storm.
The scale of the destruction is just startling.
What's next for Mount Tabor and the neighbors eager to help pick up the pieces? A fire torches construction equipment at the location of Portland's next city-run mass encampment. And now Portland police say it was deliberately set. Thanks so much for joining us here at 6. I'm Brittany Falkers. The camp's located in North Portland and has already had plenty of vocal opposition. Our Blair Best has our story.
To the outside eye, it's easy to miss. But this city-owned land off North Portland Road is full of controversy.
I don't like it, but you gotta start somewhere.
Teresa, who didn't want to go on camera, lives near what will soon be the second of 6 mass-sanctioned campsites for homeless people in Portland. The first is in Southeast off Powell Boulevard.
Not really. I mean, I can see people doing it, helping people out, but they have to be the ones that want help.
I have no problems with it being right there. I don't think it's fair to say they don't deserve a safe place to live just because I'm living right over here.
Earlier this month, some of the site's construction equipment was set on fire. Officials believe it was arson. No one was injured, but it caused tens of thousands of dollars in damages.
I've seen smoke, but I didn't see anything else.
That's horrible. Just putting back the progress.
Portland police are now trying to identify the suspect seen in these photos wearing a blue backpack.
Well, I think it's childish. Why? Would you need to do that?
In this online blog, an anarchist platform called Rose City Counterinfo, an anonymous post published on Friday admits to the arson and condemns the city's plans for the site. Another post claims responsibility for torching Commissioner Rene Gonzalez's car outside his home earlier this month. Portland police say they are aware of the posts. A spokesperson for the city's Safe Rest Village program tells KGW they're disappointed the arsonists attempted to slow down their efforts of providing shelter to homeless people. Yet despite the arson, work continued. There is still no opening date set for the site.
It's just really hurting our city and the good plans that they have going.
All right, so the fire is still under investigation, and meanwhile, the mayor's office is continuing to meet with neighbors to talk about the site's next steps. But one neighborhood association there has already said it would not work with the city on a good neighbor agreement because they don't believe that agreement would influence the city's plans. Brittany.
All right, Blair, thank you so much. Well, let's get to your headlines now. The fire crews have been forced to retreat from a massive dock fire at the port of Ilwaco. Ilwaco is just northwest of Astoria on the Washington side of the Columbia River. The Chinook Observer newspaper says that fire broke out at Ilwaco Landing, a seafood processing facility for the local crabbing industry. All workers were able to get out safely, but a number of firefighters were being treated for exhaustion. Neighbors are being warned to stay away from the area and keep windows and doors closed due to hazardous smoke. We have a crew in Ilwaco who reports that the fire is still burning. We'll have more details tonight at 11. The FAA is now urging airlines to check door plugs on another model of Boeing 737 aircraft in addition to the MAX 9. That's the kind of plane that had the blowout over Portland earlier this month. A previous 737 model, the 900ER, has a similar optional emergency exit with the same type of panel that's used on the MAX 9. About 500 Model 900ERs were built and sold by Boeing and are in use worldwide. Alaska, United, and Delta have already begun proactive inspections and say they don't believe it will add further disruptions to flight schedules. All MAX 9 planes remain grounded. Gresham police and the family of a man who was murdered in a home invasion 7 years ago are asking the public to help find the killer. 46-year-old Eddie Wallace Sr. was at home with his teenage son back on January 20th, 2017, when multiple men with guns entered the home in the early morning hours and shot and killed Wallace. Detectives were unable to identify a suspect, and no arrests have been made in the years since. Now, Crime Stoppers of Oregon is offering a $2,500 cash reward for tips that lead to an arrest, which would bring some closure to Wallace's family.
We've gone 7 years with unanswered questions. His children miss him, his grandchildren miss him, his sisters, his brothers, cousins, nieces. All we would like to know is why.
Tips can be submitted anonymously at crimestoppersoregon.com. PGE says it has finished restoring all storm-related power outages from last week. Altogether, more than 500,000 customers in the Portland metro lost power at some point during the winter storms, peaking on Saturday the 13th. About 1,800 personnel from PGE and crews from surrounding states worked to get the power back on. Power has been restored to Southwest Washington and much of the rest of Oregon. However, outages persist in the Gorge and the Eugene area, which have been the hardest hit with freezing rain. Okay, if you're a SNAP recipient and you had to throw away food because your power went out, you can have it replaced, but you'll need to act fast. You have 10 days from the time you threw away the food to request replacement benefits from the Oregon Department of Human Services. You'll be asked to submit a list of food lost and the estimated cost of each. Reimbursements will be added to the current EBT card and cannot exceed your regular monthly allotment. Be aware this will take some time, so if you're facing immediate need, you can call 211 or visit the Food Finder tool on the Oregon Food Bank website.
All right, we have finally warmed up, and there is no freezing precipitation coming our way. In fact, not even any freezing temperatures in the Portland area. Look at the coast right now. It's rainy, but it's 51 degrees there. The last holdout of the cold air is in the Gorge. No surprise, snow on the ground at the Dalles, our camera on the Oregon Veterans Home. But it is above freezing there, and it's above freezing at least by a couple degrees across most of the Gorge. And the Gorge will continue to warm up. There is some precipitation moving through right now, maybe a spot or two of freezing rain, but mainly it is just liquid rain and not freezing on contact, which is great. Now, around the rest of Oregon, we've got some rain moving through right now. Some of it's fairly heavy down around Salem, but the showers will diminish overnight tonight. And we actually have quite a bit of dry weather on the way for tomorrow. And really, the good news is temperatures staying in the 40s in Portland for the next several nights and climbing into the 50s on several of these days. So the thaw will continue. The Gorge will even be warming up tomorrow. There's some heavy rain on the way. We'll talk about how much in a bit. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Matt. Well, tonight, much of historic Highway 30 through the Gorge remains closed, and this right here is why. This morning, ODOT crews braved the icy roads, rock falls, and downed trees to reach Vista House east of Corbett, and they found it completely encased in ice. Just look at that. The Forest Service has also closed Multnomah Falls, still dealing with ice, flooding, and lots of tree damage. Many hiking trails in the Gorge are also extremely dangerous right now for that same reason. Our Daisy Caballero joins us live from Corbett, which has been hit especially hard. So, Daisy, I understand water was turned off for much of Corbett these last few days. So is that still the case?
Well, Brittany, that is the case for some. While many of the people that live in the Corbett Water District, their customers have started to slowly but surely start to get their water back up. But as of right now, there are about 300 homes in the area that are still under a boiling water advisory. Those homes are in the areas of Henley, Northway, Christensen, Center, Stevens, and Bell. Now, we stopped by the Corbett Market where a worker actually tells me they've been open since the storm started and haven't closed since. While they did lose power, their generator allowed them to keep the registers on for their customers, just like David Kabusha, who says he heard a tree cracking down outside of his window on Monday night. He called a tree trimming company shortly after. They thankfully came out that same day to chain the tree trunk together before it snapped, which would have fallen right into his bedroom overnight because of the strong winds.
3 feet to the right is where my wife and I sleep. So that would have come, I mean, straight down there, and then my son's room is just over here. So anywhere in this little roof line right here is just going to be anywhere would have been a disaster, but that would have been right where we live.
And as you can imagine, school was closed today, but the Corbett superintendent posted a message on Facebook telling families they're working on fixing pipes and getting boilers running today, adding if things go as planned, students may be able to go back to school on Wednesday, though school tomorrow has been canceled. And back out here live, if you can actually see behind me, the main road, of course, you aren't seeing any of that snow, any of that ice. But as you are looking down at my feet, of course, I'm on the sidewalk here. It is just plain. It's just an ice rink out here, guys. And thank goodness that I do have my yak tracks on, because I would be slipping and sliding if, of course, I didn't. And I also saw a lot of locals still using their cleats, and I'm expecting for them to probably continue to use them tomorrow, because this ice is really thick, and it's probably going to be taking us a few more days, or people here in Corbett, a few more days to officially thaw out. Back to you.
Yeah, the traction on your feet makes a huge difference for safety. Daisy, thank you so much. Well, meantime, most Portland public school students did return to classrooms today after icy weather canceled school all last week, but several schools had to stay closed because of damage. Our Thomas Schultz joins us from Ainsworth Elementary School. So, Thomas, how are parents who still have those kiddos at home handling this?
Well, Brittany, they told us today that the past week has been rough, and now with kids still at home, they're trying to balance work and also attending to their kids, and some still don't know exactly when their students will go back to school.
It's been rough.
After heavy storms rolled through Portland last week, toppling trees and coating the metro area in thick ice, 5 Portland public schools remain closed, 4 elementary schools and 1 middle school. All are dealing with storm damage.
We had a rough week last week.
Malud Debeb has a 1st and 2nd grader at Markham Elementary. He's worked from home the past couple weeks while caring for his daughters.
So it's kind of a tough for me as a parent, because I need to prioritize to stay with the kids.
And he says it hasn't been easy for his children either.
But the kids also, it's tough for them. So they've been for a week at home. And now there's another week.
Another week after the principal of Markham Elementary said school will be closed this week as crews make repairs on pipes that froze and burst, leaving heavy water damage. In a letter to parents, the principal said they're developing a timeline for how long repairs should last. And as maintenance crews work, parents are unsure what's next.
It's just kind of like wait and see.
Liz Hing has a 5th and 2nd grader at Markham. In December, the pair had COVID, missing a week. They missed 3 more due to the teacher's strike and last week's weather. And while 1 week missed for the strike was made up, there was sparse attendance, making it hard for Hing to imagine her children are getting the education she expected.
I don't know. It feels like a bust.
Now, some schools are offering asynchronous learning. That's either remote learning or packets that they're making available for students. Hing told us that she didn't know if those were available for her students at Markham, though. And when we asked the school district if there will be makeup days for missed classes this week, they say not necessarily if students were provided those asynchronous learning materials. Brittany?
All right, Thomas, thank you. Toppled trees at Mount Tabor. The big cleanup ahead for parks across the city. And coming up later on the story.